Alright guys, so this is a fucking requested video. Let me give a shout out to my boy that sent me the request because I thought it was funny what he said. This is a fucking request from my boy Jay Bananas in the comments. He said, hey, I'd like to see you do a Masvidal versus video or a Masvidal versus Thompson video. He said, unless you only do videos for those who give donations, which I would understand. Respect on your name, sir. No, I do request videos for everybody. Usually it's for the people who send it to my email, which is in my description. But if I see it in the comments when I'm responding to comments, I'll fucking try and get to that shit too, bro. Motherfucking day one hitter on deck. Jay Bananas, let's get it. So this is my fucking video on what I think about Jorge Masvidal and motherfucking. I'm gonna get into the versus. I'm gonna start doing a series called Versus the World. If someone requests a fighter, I'm gonna fucking do Versus the World. What I think on that fighter, everything. So this is going to be a fucking in-depth rundown of what I think about Jorge Masvidal and his matchups in his division and a little bit of history that people might not know about Jorge Masvidal. So let's get into it. Alright, first things first. Jorge Masvidal, he's coming off of a loss to Damian Maia. Jorge Masvidal versus Damian Maia. It was a fucking I was rooting for Jorge Masvidal that fight because he's one of my favorite fighters. He lost the fight to one of the best grapplers in the game. No, Damian Maia might not be an entertaining fighter, but put some fucking respect on his name. I respect him. He beat Masvidal. The better man won that night. I ain't gonna make excuses for Masvidal. Masvidal's still one of my favorite fighters. Don't care. I'd rather watch Masvidal's next fight than Damian Maia's. Actually, I take that back because it's against Tyron Woodley, and I want to see all Tyron Woodley's fights. I fuck with another one of my favorite fighters. Alright, back to Jorge Masvidal. Okay, so let's go down the rankings, the welterweight rankings, and I'm gonna fucking talk about Jorge Masvidal versus all these guys. Number 2, you said or do a video on Jorge Masvidal versus Stephen Thompson. I could do a whole separate video on this, but I'm gonna get into it here. Fuck it. Stephen Thompson versus Jorge Masvidal. What do I think would happen in that fight? What do I think about that fight? I swear to God, bro, before you ask that, in my conversations with my friends, my brother and such, that's one of my dream fights. That's one of the fights I'm pumped for that no one's talking about. Jorge Masvidal is one of the best got some of the best hands I've ever fucking seen. Stephen Thompson is a motherfucking counter striker out of this world. How does that work? I want to know if Jorge Masvidal is going to go in there like fucking Valentina Shevchenko did against Holly Holm and clip her shit up even though she's a counter striker. I want to know if Jorge Masvidal is going to throw caution to the wind and be able to fucking put the pressure on Wonder Boy. Or will he get clipped up? Will he get caught by the counter striker? Because you know Stephen Thompson's not going to pressure him. Excuse me. You know Stephen Thompson's not going to pressure Jorge Masvidal. You know Stephen Thompson's not going to shoot for a takedown on Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal's got very good defensive takedowns, defensive wrestling. Jorge Masvidal's got great hands. So the only way I see that fight going is I see that could see this. I don't like Stephen Thompson. I don't. I'm sorry. I'll explain why. Everybody got mad at Tyron Woodley whenever that fight was fucking boring. Whenever the rematch was boring. And that pissed me off because it's Stephen Thompson's fault. You got a fucking second chance that you didn't even deserve. It's your turn to go in here and throw caution to the wind. It's your turn to go in here and try and get the W. It's your turn to go in here and win the belt. Don't count on the judges to give you the belt. That was some weird shit to me. I'm not going to go into no fucking race baiting, none of that dumb shit. But I want to know why Stephen Thompson thought it was okay to fucking to let it go to the judges' hands in a rematch you don't deserve. I want to know why you think it's okay to let it go to the judges in a rematch that you don't deserve. Those are the fights where you're supposed to go for the fucking gold. You're not even supposed to be in this fight right now, so fucking go do some Michael Bisping shit, shock the world, and knock out the champion and get the belt. Because you're not supposed to be in this fight. Michael Bisping, you were not supposed to be in the fight with Luke Rockhold, but you shocked the world, so respect on your name. Stephen Thompson, you were not supposed to be in the rematch with Tyron Woodley. So, I don't like Stephen Thompson for that. So, if Jorge Masvidal was ever to fight Stephen Thompson, I would root for Jorge Masvidal. I don't know how it would go. Just like the Damian Maia fight, I'm rooting for Jorge Masvidal. I don't know if you're going to win. Still one of my favorite fighters. If that was Jorge Masvidal's next fight versus Stephen Thompson, and he lost again because Stephen Thompson was fighting a boring fight and fucking made him come forward, or it's gonna be a boring fight if you don't come forward, bro. I'll sit here and fucking be waiting for the counter strike all night. I don't like that. Sorry. That whenever I whenever I started off watching MMA as a casual fan, and I fucking watched all Anderson Silva's fights, and I was fucking I loved him. Once I realized he was only going for the counter strike, like whenever I would see Nick Diaz lay down in the ring against him, like, dude, are you ever gonna come forward? It kind of opened my eyes. Like, oh, maybe you're just a counter striker. I don't like people that are okay with boring fights unless you play into their game. So Stephen Thompson, not the biggest fan. So I would root for Jorge Masvidal. Let's go to number 3, Robbie Lawler. Jorge Masvidal versus Robbie Lawler. I would pick Jorge Masvidal in that fight. I would pick Jorge Masvidal to clip Robbie Lawler's shit up. A lot of people might disagree with that. I don't care. That's fine. I understand and I respect it. I do understand that. There's a lot of Robbie Lawler fans. Robbie Lawler became one of my favorite fighters in his Rory McDonald fight. That shit was an epic war. I always talk about one of my favorite fights of all time. I put respect on Rory's name in that fight. Rory had a fucking broken nose, broken face. You know how fucking much he didn't want to walk forward and he kept doing it? But after you get touched in a broken nose so many times, I'm sorry, you got to get out of there. You got to. Still got respect on Rory's name after that fight. I don't care. Robbie Lawler, one of my favorite fighters after that fight. But I do think Robbie Lawler would get his shit clipped up by Jorge Masvidal. Carlos Condit, fucking retired. Please get him off the rankings until he fucking breaks some news. Jorge Masvidal, of course, I'm picking. Actually, I'm not going to say of course. Carlos Condit, actually, man, the way Carlos Condit retired after he got fucking beat by Maia, I mean, you tell me who took that loss better than Damian Maia? Carlos Condit, who fucking put his gloves down, or motherfucking Jorge Masvidal, who said, hey, hats off to the better grappler tonight. Motherfucking, I'm getting back to the grind. In my opinion, Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal is ranked number 5 under Carlos Condit. Fucking, can we take some respect off of Carlos Condit's name? Didn't my guy retire? Off of Condit. Neil Magny, number 6. I'm picking Jorge Masvidal. Neil Magny could present some problems with the reach and the range. He could present some problems because he's long. But Jorge Masvidal, he's got, I don't know, man. He's one of my favorite fighters. I think he's got the wherewithal. I think Jorge Masvidal's got the head movement. I think Jorge Masvidal's got the hands, the fucking speed to get past the fucking challenges Neil Magny presents with his reach and his length and his unorthodoxness, if that's a word. Number 7, Dung Yun Stun Gun Kim versus Jorge Masvidal. Who do I got? Jorge Masvidal. Probably against a lot of these guys under Jorge Masvidal, I probably got Jorge. Jorge is one of my favorite welterweights, one of the best welterweights to me. So a lot of these guys I'm probably going to, but I'll still go down the list. I got Jorge versus Stun Gun. I do. I think Jorge Masvidal's got the boxing skills. He's not going to get stunned by the stun gun. He's going to fucking dodge your hits and he's going to clip your shit up. He might just clip your shit up all night, or he might finish you. Honestly, when you think about it, everyone talks about Jorge Masvidal not finishing the fight. He came from lightweight, so he's a smaller welterweight. So think about this. Jorge Masvidal fights Damian Maia. Jorge Masvidal is actually a lightweight. Jorge Masvidal could make lightweight. Jorge Masvidal came up from lightweight because he was getting robbed. After Jorge Masvidal's Ally Quinta fight, when he got fucking pure robbed, he moved up. He said, I'm not going to focus my whole camp on my diet, focus on making this weight if I'm going to get robbed. What's the point? If I'm going to be having fun, I'm going to have fun eating what the fuck I want. So I can eat whatever I want and make welterweight. That's where Jorge Masvidal is. Shit, if I'm going to get robbed, I'm going to fight at my natural weight class. I'm not going to do that if I'm going to get robbed. And I fucking respect that. I like that. And I agree with that. Because if they're going to fucking rob you, you got to do what you got to do, man. What are you talking about? I'm not just going to keep getting fucking robbed. I know what's going on here. I peep game. Jorge Masvidal is game bred. He peeps game. He sees what's going on. Real recognize real. Let's move down to Donald Cerrone. What would happen? Jorge Masvidal versus Donald Cerrone. Let's think. Donald Cerrone would get fucking finished twice in the same fight. Moving on. One of my favorite fighters. The truth, it happened. Respect on Jorge Masvidal's name. Respect on Donald Cerrone's name, but we seen it. Gunnar Nelson versus Jorge Masvidal. This could end up going like Damian Maia. I don't think Gunnar Nelson is on the same skill level as Damian Maia. So I honestly would pick Jorge Masvidal versus Gunnar Nelson. And I would be rooting for him. If he lost, I wouldn't be mad. Still be one of my favorite fighters. Kamaru Usman, Tarek Saffiedine, Ryan LaFleur, Santiago Ponzinibbio. I don't know enough about these guys to pick them against one of my favorite fighters. None of these are really on my radar. Tarek Saffiedine, a little bit. I know who Tarek Saffiedine is, yes. Not one of my favorite fighters at all. Not on my radar. So I'm just gonna fucking not even go into those guys. Because why would I pick a fucking someone that I don't know against one of my favorite fighters? I'm not gonna do it. Alright. Matt Brown and Leon Edwards. Matt Brown would get his fucking shit tore up by fucking Jorge Masvidal. Matt Brown is a warrior like Donald Cerrone, but he's one of those guys that's probably going to get this shit clipped up. I don't see him as being elite. I don't see them as being the best fighters in the division. I see them as being warriors. I see them being fan favorites, and I put some respect on their name for that. But I don't see them beating Jorge Masvidal, someone like that. Someone like Tyron Woodley, I don't see it. All right. Now that's my thoughts on Jorge Masvidal in the welterweight division. But now I'm just gonna say something about the lightweight division, because I mentioned Jorge Masvidal only moved up from lightweight. He was getting robbed. Imagine if Jorge Masvidal got his fair shake in the lightweight. That would be so many good Jorge Masvidal fights. Jorge Masvidal versus Khabib, I don't really want to see because I kind of seen it in the Damian Maia fight. Actually, I do want to see it because Khabib's 155. Maia could never make 155. Jorge Masvidal's defensive wrestling might be able to stifle Khabib, but it might go down like the Michael Johnson fight. But I think Jorge Masvidal has a little better defensive wrestling than Michael Johnson. So I would root for Jorge in that fight. Tony Ferguson versus Jorge Masvidal. I would love to see that fight. I don't fucking know who would win. I love both of those fighters. So fuck it. I would love to see that fight, and I don't know who would win. Edson Barboza versus Masvidal. I don't know who would win. I'd love to see it. Hands out of this world versus somebody that's got hands and feet out of this world. Your defensive wrestling is probably not going to help you much against Edson Barboza. So Edson Barboza might be a bad style matchup for Jorge Masvidal. Michael Johnson. I would pick Jorge Masvidal, but it would be a good fight. Michael Chiesa. I would pick Jorge Masvidal for the same reason I would pick Jorge Masvidal against Gunnar Nelson. I don't think you're as good as Damian Maia, and I don't think you're big enough to fucking ride around on Masvidal all night. You seen Damian Maia couldn't finish Masvidal. What did Damian Maia do to Carlos Condit? He fucking got on his back and he finished him quick. What did he do to Jorge Masvidal? He got on his back and he couldn't finish shit. So why the fuck is Carlos Condit ranked higher than Jorge Masvidal? Don't like it, disagree. Alright, Nate Diaz. Motherfucker, get that out of here, dude. Nate Diaz is overrated as fuck to me. Nate Diaz is cool. Nick Diaz is one of my favorite fighters. Nate Diaz is not. Yes, you can root for one of the brothers and not the other. The only reason I ever liked Nate Diaz is because he beat Conor McGregor whenever Conor McGregor had all them casual fans behind him that really didn't know what they were talking about. I respect Conor McGregor, but motherfucking I liked when Nate Diaz beat him. Dustin Poirier versus Jorge Masvidal. I would love to see that fight. I would pick Jorge Masvidal, I don't know. Ally Quinta versus Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal already whooped your ass, but you got the W somehow. Beneil Dariush, same situation as Michael Chiesa, but I'm not a fan of Beneil Dariush. Kevin Lee versus Jorge Masvidal. Boy, I would like to see that fight. I would probably pick Jorge Masvidal, but boy, would I like to see it. Alright, man, I think that's all I'm going to fucking say on this Jorge Masvidal versus the world video. Let me know if you like this video, because if so, I'm going to fucking do some other people versus the world. I got a lot of ideas I might fucking run. Tell me about this one, The Ultimate Fighter. I've been watching that. Whether I'm doing videos on it or not, I am watching it. So let me know if you fucking want me to do like a Ultimate Fighter recap on every episode, like every week or something. But yeah, let me know what you think about this versus the world video, and I might get some more up. I'll see how it goes. I don't know what else to say, man. It is what it is. Fuck it. Let me know what you think in the comments.